Hey everybody, Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast. Let me tell you about some exciting events I have coming up. Starting with June 11th, we'll be out at Naked Vine for the singer-songwriter storytelling showcase, celebrating 1 year out there at Naked Vine. And I've invited along Susie Bassino and Michael Eisenbeis of Find a Drive, and Dustin Brown and Michael Flynn of Waiting for Flynn. So these four writers sitting on stools, sharing stories behind all these songs. And we'll also have some gourmet grilled cheese by Sauce Magazine's Chef of the Year, Matt Glickard, out there. So come hungry and join us at Naked Vine, 7 o'clock start. It's a $10 cover for the show for the evening. So join us. It's going to be a great night. Can't wait to see you all there. If you haven't been by Naked Vine, Brian's running a great spot out there in Chesterfield, serving up all sorts of your favorite wine, whiskey, tequila, and local craft beers. Great live music all the time over there also. Stop by and visit them this week. Thursday, they are doing June 6th, they are doing a blues watch party for the Stanley Cup Finals. Stop by and watch the game over there at Naked Vine with them. And then on Friday, June 7th, Les Gruff and the Billy Goat return. And on Saturday, June 8th, Ross Bell Band. So stop by and visit them this weekend. Again, you can find everything at nakedvine.net. Be sure to follow along on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And also want to tell you about a really exciting party I have coming up. I can't wait for this one. On June 22nd, we're celebrating 5 years of Rock Paper Podcast out at Broadway Oyster Bar. And I've invited along Amanda Fish Band, Tony Campanella Band, and Odds Lane. That's a $8 cover for the show. 10 o'clock music starts. And if you haven't been to Broadway Oyster Bar, what have you been doing? You need to go check it out. There's all sorts of great food and cold drinks all night long. It's going to be an incredible night. Can't wait. We'll also have my friend Jessica Hitchcock out there doing some live art throughout the evening. So somebody's going to go home with an original piece of artwork that at the end of the night, and that's going to be really cool. So again, June 22nd, celebrating 5 years at Broadway Oyster Bar. Can't wait for that night. Also want to tell you about my friends at Joseph Meyer Club. Stop by and visit them at josephmeyerclub.com right now, and you can purchase some of their foaming aftershave. And if you use my code RPPJMC20, you can receive an additional 20% off during checkout. I've been using this product myself. I love it. I think it's really wonderful and smells great. So check it out. If you're looking to get some aftershave, check out josephmeyerclub.com. All right, everybody. Thank you all so much for all the support. Thanks for listening and telling friends. And over the last 5 years, it's been a wild ride. So let's keep this thing going. Again, thank you so much, and I'll see you out there. Have a great day, everyone.
A podcast is kind of like it's like a radio show that's not on the radio. It's on the internet. Does that make sense? Uh-huh. Yeah. That's also like my mom. It makes it sound more confusing, doesn't it? It sounds like this.
This is Bobby Stevens, and you're listening to Rock Paper Podcast.
Rock Paper Podcast. Rock Paper Podcast. Rock Paper Podcast, y'all.
Hey, everybody. Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast, coming to you from St. Louis, Missouri. Hanging out today at The Pocket, next to world-famous Off-Broadway with Bobby Stevens. Welcome back to the show, my friend.
Thank you. Hello.
Hey, man.
Nice to be hanging out with you again, Shane.
Yeah, man. It's been a bit since you've been on the show especially as a solo artist. We did do the singer-songwriter storytelling showcase a while back, and so that technically counts as an appearance. But we haven't actually sat just the two of us talking for quite a while. So this is cool to get to catch up and hang out for a little while today and talking about some brand new Bobby Stevens tunes and all kinds of fun stuff. So. I guess let's get it out of the way. We do have brand new music coming out on May 24th.
That's right.
You're releasing
May 24th. Yeah, I have an EP coming out.
Yeah.
5 songs. It's called Working on Something, which I've been working on for a really long time.
Yeah.
Which is funny.
A double entendre kind of thing.
Sure, yeah. And I think that was like, that was part of it when I was singing the title. And we were talking earlier, there's a song called Chill Out Night, and that's a lyric in there.
Right.
But when I was thinking about it and it started developing, it was like, all right, that's the title of the EP, you know, and it's just kind of, it's been 7 years since I've released anything. So it's just putting something out, being like working on something, and then there'll be more after that.
Yeah.
It was just nice to do, yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, obviously, anybody that's been following along has probably heard some of these songs out live, but it's nice to actually have some studio recordings of these and actually, purchase a copy and have our own version of it now.
Right.
So, Chill Out Night is one that's been a favorite of mine for a while, and is you told the story when we did the showcase and stuff. You kind of talked about some of the story behind it, and I think it's a fun story too. Like just the fact that like how personal it is to you too, in a sense, like where there's a lot of real things that kind of inspired these lyrics that led into becoming this even the title of the record now and stuff. And
right.
You care telling a little bit of that?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm happy to hear, and like I've been playing that song for a while now. I guess I just got my stuff together to like record, but it's been, I always hope to make relatable songs, and a lot of them come from personal experiences. And I think that's, again, where especially that song, it's like, but yeah, the first line is, thinking about the clothes in the dryer, I put them in 2 days before. And that was like, when I was sitting down with my guitar one day, that was what was actually happening. And,
I've definitely been there, man.
Sure. Yeah. And I'm like, and some of those kind of therapeutic ideas of songs, and it's neat to write those, but it's really cool to like it connects,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that was happening, and it was just kind of getting stuff together.
Didn't he said there's something about somebody's grandpa?
Oh yeah, the chorus. So I was like, I had every verse out, and I like could not come up with the chorus for this. And I was hanging out with Danny Blaze from Brother Lee and the Leather Jackals. So this dates the song too. I was living in U City, and I was we were there, and Brother Lee had a EP release show years ago at the demo, and somebody took a photo, and I'd started the song, and then I was hanging out with Danny. He's like, I got to tell you something. My grandpa saw a photo of us at the show, and he said, boy, who is that tatted up fellow? He looks like he's running from something. So I appreciate also that Danny Blaze's grandfather is Hank Hill as well. But so that like sparked the chorus of your grandpa said I must be running. So it was neat to hear though. But that was like also a thing to somebody who doesn't know you and saw a photograph and see something too. It was like, that was pretty thought provoking. Yeah. Also, it was like, whoa, what do you see? Wow.
Right.
Shoot.
Thinking about the clothes in the dryer, I put them in 2 days before. That was the night I was gonna chill out and listen to the radio on the floor. Then the phone rang, and I don't think that I know anyone from Kansas. I guess this call's not for me at all. Good idea not to answer. Your grandpa said I must be running, and sometimes I think I'm a bum. Just tell him I'm working on something, but I won't know what it is till I'm done. So that drove me down and out to the bar. All the usuals were there. A horse, 2 monkeys, a salesman, and a priest. They was looking at the blind man stare. That one drink
do you think he was right, or are you running from something?
Maybe at the time.
Yeah.
I don't think anymore. I think
I don't think tattoos would be that you're running from something.
No, I know.
So,
Yeah. Who's that tattooed fella? He looks like he's running from something.
Yeah.
Bah. What?
Yep. I feel like we all.
Danny Blaze, I love you, by the way.
Yeah, shout out to Danny Blaze.
But,
I think that I think we all kind of go through that too. Again, like just there's always something. I mean, whether it's big or small or whatever. But I mean, if it's something, I feel like we all can probably relate to that in a sense. And running from something. I mean, like even if it's just growing up, man. Like I have a hard time dealing with that. Like getting into the the real world and stuff. Like I like just having fun and stuff. It's the whole thing of growing up now and actually having to be responsible at times and stuff like that. Like it's like, so I keep trying to hold on to my freedom as long as I can.
Right. And I think that's interesting, is like, as fun of a song as it is, and I like fun as well. Yeah, it's dealing with issues. I think it was a more like, the song's more serious than it sounds, I think, in some ways, and running from something and kind of like what's happening and grappling with issues, and certainly like mental health issues in whatever way, like I think most of us are dealing with, whether it's like anxiety or even growing up. That just adds like a layer of like weight to it. And so that was like a lot what I was thinking about the song. And so, yeah, in a way, he was right, because like it's easy to run to, that laundry's been in the dryer, I need to take care of the stuff, but I guess it might just be easier to like, go to the bar and like forget about it,
right?
And that's fine too, but just grappling with those issues. But I always try to put a little buoyancy and a little light in that too.
Yeah,
we're just like, I'm working on something. I just don't know what it is yet, but when it's done, I'll know.
Sure. Yeah, man. Well, this again, this will be available everywhere digitally on May 24th, and so yeah, you can pick it up on your Spotify and iTunes or whatever, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Spotify, iTunes, Napster. I think that's still around. I learned when I was applying on CD Baby, which is cool. I remember Napster. I was a big fan of Napster back in the day.
Right. It's a little more legit now.
Sure. Well, they must be. Thank you, Lars. Yeah, so I guess most people, I don't know. I feel like Spotify, iTunes are the big ones.
Sure.
It'll be on my Bandcamp too, which is also, I love Bandcamp.
Well,
it's a great website.
Yeah, definitely, man. I'm a big fan of what they got happening. In fact, that you can go over there also and you can purchase vinyl, your old record, right? You can purchase that on there too.
Vinyl. I'll be putting the T-shirts and everything up too. But yeah, my first record, which is like a record, a vinyl record, 12 inches of. Yeah, you could buy that there, which I'm very proud of that.
Yeah, man.
It's been a long time. But I'm happy to be finally putting out like a new solo album. It's like a songs I've been working on for a while, so it's cool.
Let's talk about some of the guys that helped you make this possible, like in the recording session and stuff.
Sure.
Is there you bring in some extra players?
Yeah, I was super happy. So I play in a band called Wilderness as well, with Dan Johanning and Justin Haltmar, Pookie, and Gabe Ussery, and he works at he's the engineer at Encapsulated. So initially I was kind of sitting on my butt with these songs. I was like, I should probably record some songs, and so I approached Gabe, who's an amazing engineer and has a great ear for music, and I said, Gabe, I'd like to record an acoustic album, like very stripped down, so I came in to the studio and it like recorded these tracks, and then we just dove in, and it's not a stripped down EP at all. There's a lot of stuff going on too. But I love working with Gabe. He's probably one of my favorite people in the world. He's a very funny person, and he's just got a really good ear, and he likes a lot of music and does stuff, but Encapsulated's kind of known for doing like punk, hardcore metal kind of stuff, so this is very different. But he's just, I loved working with him. It was probably one of my favorite recording experiences ever, and he added a lot of stuff to there, and it was like a nice person to like bounce ideas off of. But he's got a very different ear. That's not the music he listens to a lot. so he put a flair in there that was just like, whoa, that's really cool, man. So I worked with Gabe, and then he did drums and a little bit of background vocals and some spacey guitar on the track Sirens. And Chris Schott played keys, who's a person we met. Wilderness did a Bruce Springsteen tribute show at Off-Broadway a few years ago, and Pookie knew Chris from a band that they were in together. And he played piano with us at that show, and he just killed it. It was just awesome. So I had him come in, and I also I think Gabe and Chris were like two super important factors in the recording, where they just added a lot of stuff that I wouldn't have necessarily thought of. And they had a lot of input and ideas where like I'd be like, I kind of think this, and then put it to action, and it was just super cool. So Chris Schott played keys. He's a professor as well, so it's also nice to be like Professor Chris.
Yeah, Chris, meeting through you and stuff. Chris did the show a little while back and stuff. And,
sure, he did that Amazing Sky album.
Yeah, and we had a great time, man, hanging out. It was a lot of fun getting to know him, and but yeah, very talented guy.
Sure.
Speaking of you saying he's a professor. I laughed. There was a good line the other day on SNL. They did this bit where it was like this talk show called Tracy, sort of like a Jerry Springer type of setting kind of thing. And but I brought out this doctor. And she's like, I'm not really a doctor. I just play keys in a funk band, so everybody calls me a doctor. So I thought that was really funny.
It is funny, yeah. Keyboard players, especially in like if fun bands, are always doctors, professors. Yeah.
So that made me laugh. Just play keys in a funk band.
Yep.
And
then so then I had Justin Haltmar Pookie played bass. He's always trustworthy. I'm fortunate to have met these people, so he's kind of a person who can just be like, here's the songs, like, you know what to do. And he just does it. It's great. He's an amazing musician. And my fiance, Kyle, she sang on one of the songs. It's kind of a special song for us, too. So that was neat to have her sing on that. And then Cara Louise did backing vocals on a couple of the songs as well.
Very cool. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's really a really nice thing when you have a bunch of talented friends like that you can call on to help you out, man. So
right. It was a fun project, too. Like my first album and like other bands I've been in, I mean, it's a pretty straightforward process of recording live, And it's like, here's the songs, here's the parts. So it was really nice spending time with Gabe in a studio and like recording the acoustic guitar and the vocals and then building on top of that.
Right.
It was really neat. It added a different... I think I appreciated that process more than I thought that I would. I like live recording and just being like, here's a song, we're kicking butt. But it was neat to be like, well, what do you think? Maybe we'll add like an organ on this, or like, Chris brought good ideas with like, I've got this kind of synthesizer thing on here, and stuff that, like I said, I went in being like, I'm going to make a stripped down 5-song EP of like mostly just acoustic guitar,
Sure.
Not that way,
So you just played acoustic guitar, or do you...
I did the electric guitar, a lot of the electric guitar on it. Gabe did on Sirens. Gabe's a really, like I said, he's just a talented human being. He's a great musician, but he I think he had just got a delay pedal or something, and he was just messing with it, and we were just like, we should do something like that on the song, you know. Okay. So he played some guitars on there. Yeah.
Nice. Very cool, man.
Yeah, so that was pretty bare bones crew on the whole thing, but it was just fun working, like I said, just kind of thinking and building it.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Sirens. That's another one we want to leak out there and for everybody to listen. And then you said this may be one of your favorites from the record.
I think so. I had the most... that was one we were working on, and especially after Chris came in and did some keyboards on it, different keys. There's like organ, piano, and like I said, some like synthesizer stuff that just, it got real spacey, and it was just I'd always liked the song because it's a very simple song, but the accoutrements kind of took it to a different level, and I love that song. It's pretty lyrically not as like straightforward, I guess. It's a, I don't don't know how to put it. Yeah, I was just thinking about a lot of stuff. I started writing it shortly after I moved to St. Louis, and this is like the first city I've lived in. So there's like a lot to take in when you're living in, a city. But it's my favorite song, I think, on there.
Nice.
If I can be so bold, that was the most fun one to build, and it got to different places that were just like, whoa, what are we doing here? But as soon as I wrote it, I mean, I definitely ripped Chris Christopherson off on the chords and some of the melody. But I was wanted it to kind of sound like those like first couple Chris Christopherson records, but obviously we updated it.
Sure.
But yeah, it was very fun to make that song.
Well, he's a good one to borrow from.
Mm-hmm.
So
Sure. Yeah. Borrow, thank you.
Yeah.
The changing color weather brings the echoes of September blowing in. A whistle through my window late at night. The sounds of the sirens that mix the dead with the dying. The dancers who won't go to their graves without a fight. Now footprints line the city. Folks are all dressed up with pity. There are those who won't wear a coat till the cold cuts them deep inside. A leaf fell down without looking up into a bank account in a styrofoam cup, and a pair of eyes couldn't get a smile. All the neighbors just refused. Don't wait for time, it ignores you. And it wouldn't hardly bend to see the soul inside a man, even if that flame was burning bright within.
I'm excited too. I think it's coming up here shortly. But Sean Cannon's Voodoo Players, they do a Highwaymen Night down there at Broadway Oyster Bar.
Oh, really?
And it's a real good time.
Sure.
Because they get like Cree Ryder, Phil Wright, Ryan Kemp, and Sean all play roles as all four of the Highwaymen guys.
That's neat.
So it's fun that they take turns singing all the songs and stuff. And so anyway, yeah, it's a good time.
I love Willie Nelson, but I will say I think Chris Christopherson's just a league of his own.
Yeah.
Or as a songwriter
person. Man, for sure.
Yeah.
That what other stuff you think? I mean, obviously mentioning Chris, but is there anything else you've been listening to lately that's kind of you felt maybe helped inspire some of this? Or do you?
Sure, it's been. I think I got in such a rut, not a rut, but in that thing of like listening to music that came out 50 years ago, which is fine, but it's been cool getting back into some more like aggressive stuff, and not necessarily always aggressive, but just different. I'm a big fan of Big Thief. Okay. Like those last couple albums are amazing. Whatever they're doing is just great. And so I'm trying to be informed by, like, I think I'm getting more comfortable in bringing like all the influences together of things that I've done and things that I like to listen to, where it's not just like specifically like, I feel like I'm a writer and musician who's like, you could probably tell what I'm listening to based on the songs that I've been writing, you know? So just kind of like, it's all been culminating together more recently, which has been nice.
I like doing that, some of that. Like when I talk to people, like I'd like to kind of pick out, like there's definitely some of those bands where you like, I bet, these people are influences or whatever,
Sure.
There's like certain sounds you can pick up, like, there's a dead giveaway. And
right.
Like, so.
Yeah. And that's the beautiful thing about music. And I think it's more musically. I think lyrically, like that's very personal to people,
right.
And you want to share that and make it relatable. But
man.
That's the one thing you couldn't say that, oh, that's this. But like musically, I feel like some people are like, oh, cool, you like this band. You know? And it's like, that's just the way it goes. And that's really awesome. You know?
Yeah. That's just something I've been trying to get into more, talking to like what people are listening to, like not necessarily even influences, but just because I also want to continue to discover new music and stuff. Sure. There's a lot of people are listening to things that I've never heard of. I don't know anything about Big Thief, so
right.
I'll have to go do some homework and check it out.
They're amazing. Yeah, they have a Tiny Desk concert from a few years ago that's just great.
Nice, man.
But yeah, so Big Thief, Craig Finn's newest album is really good. I've been listening to that a lot. Some local bands, dude's getting again, just different stuff. Shady Bugs, like a local band that's like the best band going around, I think.
Yeah.
But I love Nick Gusman and I love Cara Louise and all that stuff.
I agree. Cara and Nick, but Nick's record, "To Your Hard Times," like one of my all-time favorite records. Like I told him, like, they're not just my favorite St. Louis writer, like one of my favorites, like all time. Like, man, this record is incredible. Like,
right.
So yeah, if you don't know Nick Gusman, you need to go pick up that record today because that's a killer album.
It's great. It's you'll have fun. And yeah, he's a person. He's just informed from similar places to me too. Or just like, that's so cool. You know, like, and the way he can tell. He's one of the best storytellers. He's a very creative person. He just tells great stories.
Yeah, the one, especially storytelling, is the Ballad of John Wilson. That one that he does, and like it's
wow.
That's a pretty heavy song.
Mm.
But I love that kind of stuff. That like just that story that from beginning to end and stuff.
Right.
So, but yeah, man. We'll check that out again. Keep an eye out for Bobby's EP and. We do have a live date, though, we want to tell people about. Coming up on June 13th, you will be over at Schlafly Tap Room, and you'll be there with Desire Lines. Jenny Rokas is a good friend of the show.
Who also just put out an incredible collection of songs. Yeah, really, that is so amazing.
Really good stuff on that, too. So, yeah, pick up that EP while you're out there looking for new music. And also... this one I wasn't as familiar with, but Cole Bridges and the Overpass. You said is a
Right.
You've known for quite a while.
Yeah, I met him a couple years ago. They're Champaign slash Urbana folks, and Wilderness played with a band that they had previously called the Fights at the Tap Room, and then they're just good buds with like the Manis Brothers and Jack Relly and Ryan Koenig and everyone. But yeah, I was telling you earlier, I hadn't seen him for a few years, and we were just sitting at Foam one day, and Cole and his partner and fiance, they were just sitting there, and Cole and I were just kind of like eyeballing each other, and finally he broke the ice and was like, Bobby, and I was like, Cole, I thought that was you, and it was just great. So we've reconnected, and I'm happy that he's playing again more, because he just makes very beautiful songs and
Nice.
just a good person. That's gonna be a really fun show. I'm very excited about that one. I'll have the full band with me on that one too, which will be nice.
Yeah. And is it a free show?
That's free. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tap Room shows. It's great.
Yeah,
So
I figured. I think most of them are free, right?
they are
Or-
9 p.m. free o'clock.
Yeah.
Come on out.
So yeah, June 13th over at Schlafly Tap Room. And everything else you can find Bobby on your Facebook and Instagram. Keep up with more stuff. He might be coming to a town near you. You got a couple of road gigs coming up and stuff. So
Sure.
So keep an eye out. But you were just you did just do a run with our buddy Andrew Ryan.
Yeah,
right?
last September we did a run
Yeah.
together. I love Andrew Ryan too. I'm excited for his new album to come out. Yeah, we did. I guess it was about 2 weeks, and we went out west, and we had a blast together. He's a very good. I liked hanging out with him because I think we're both kind of quiet in some ways. So it was just neat to kind of like be in a van with someone and like not feel pressure to do anything. But we had a lot of fun times.
Yeah.
Man, we went west. It was
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah, it was in Denver, and then Albuquerque, and we met a really zany person in Albuquerque. That was fun, actually, too. We were out with some buddies, and this guy just comes up, and he's all, like, dressed real nice, and he's just a real, like, strutting kind of person, you know, and we met him. I don't know if I should talk about it or give out his name, but anyway, it came out that he's just talking, and, like, we locked eyes at one point, and we're like, all right, let's drink some tequila. What's up with you, you know? And he just started telling his story, and he was just kind of like, I just moved back to Albuquerque. Like I was in this big lawsuit, and I'm a writer. And he gave me his name, and I looked him up the day after. I was like, that was a really interesting person, and he had like he came out with a book, and I read some of it. He's a good writer, but then posthumously, Dr. Seuss's wife found a book that he wrote and put it out, and this person claimed that Dr. Seuss's estate stole his book from him.
Oh yeah.
And then he sued him, and it turned into an extortion case. This guy messed up big time. It was really weird, but it was fun. Andrew and I still joke about that. Yeah, so I did that. Yeah, I'm just taking it easy. I mean, I'm going to be 35 soon, which is not old, but I'm also like understanding my own pace at what I want to do, and
Right.
it's just neat. So I'm doing like a couple days here and there, weekends. Nick Gusman and I are going out in July together for a few weeks.
Nice.
But yeah.
Me and Nick were supposed to hit the road. I was going to go to Nashville with him for a gig, just because I thought it sounded fun,
Right.
To ride along. And
Was that the snowstorm?
yeah, and then then it was like, I don't know, nasty storm rolled in, and like we ended up canceling everything. But I was like, I made this picture of I put our faces on Harry and Lloyd from Dumb and Dumber, and like just like I was imagining us hitting the road together and stuff. But yeah, I mean, unfortunately it didn't happen. But hopefully Nick will let me go out another time, some other day.
Sure.
But yeah, that I don't know, man. I joke about it a lot. I tell all these guys, like, you know, just I'll drive the tour bus or whatever, you
Right.
know, or be the roadie and something like that. But I think it'd be fun to hit the road with you guys and making getting to see a little bit of the world and stuff.
Yeah,
And
it's a fun experience. You know,
Yeah.
it's pretty neat.
so it's just you and Andrew in a car and two guitars, or
Yeah, me and Andrew in a car. He's got one of those cool like Ford Transit things, like the mini sprinters,
Okay, yeah.
which is really neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool, and it was nice because like pretty like economically feasible to travel and something like that. It's not a big van,
You guys
but it's also nice to be, you know, like if you're just playing solo, it's pretty easy to get in like most any car or whatever and do it. You know,
you guys get to do any like tourist stuff, or do you pretty much just roll up to the gig and? We
kind of just rolled up most of the times. There was going out west. I think I've not done too much west stuff because the drives are a little bit longer. So in most of the places we had people we knew, so it's just kind of like hanging out. You know, you meet up with a friend or something and you hang out, but not too much tour stuff. I think in Denver we definitely did some like I did some Colorado tourist stuff now, which is great. It's nice that it's curated there too, because I can't hang anymore. So it's just neat to go into like a professional facility and be like, here's what I'm looking for, basically, and this person being like, yeah, man, I got you. You know, I'm like, cool. Yeah, and then we went to Albuquerque after that, which is like exciting for me too. So we kind of drove. The most touristy things that we did do were like classic in that area, which I'd never seen, was like Route 66, and like getting off the actual highway and getting on the old road and seeing all these like abandoned diners and like motels and just like some crazy stuff. There's a lot of wind in Texas, so there's a lot of stuff just blown over, which is just kind of neat. I mean, I don't want to laugh. It was interesting to see, but yeah, not too much like, you know, monuments or doing any of that stuff.
Yeah, I went on a Weird Al kick the other day, and he's got that crazy song Albuquerque.
Sure.
And so that's as soon as you said that, that's what's been going through my head since then. So that
right.
Weird Al.
Albuquerque was very fun. That's an interesting place.
Yeah. Well, let's throw in one more. This is This is unreleased. A little live jam we did, right?
Mm-hmm.
We decided on the title.
Yeah, we just titled it. Yeah, I didn't have a title for it.
Yeah. Which is fun. That so we have the exclusive here. This song's called "My Favorite Room." That's what we're working with the title
right
now.
I think it's gonna stick.
Yeah. Well, this was like again recorded live here, acoustic at the Pocket. Anything we need to know around this one?
Sure. Yeah, I wrote it. I think last summer, and I went to Tulsa to play a show, and with my friend Jill, and she was working, and we were like, well, okay, you're working, what should we do? And I didn't know that this was a thing there, but she's like, go to the Woody Guthrie Center and Museum, and big Woody Guthrie fan, just as a person. So we went there, and I was just amazed. You know, I think it's really cool to study music, but Woody Guthrie especially is one of those people. He even says, like, I'm more of a reporter than a musician. So the songs are different. They're not they're important songs, but I think the stuff he was writing about, you know, it's not like a Beatles song where it's like, that's a great song and it's pop. And those are important songs too, but he's like bringing stuff to light. So I was just going there, and like a bunch of his doodles and other things he's wrote, and then I just started thinking about characters like him and Mahalia Jackson and Nina Simone, and just important figures, and just thinking about folk music in general and stories where there's like, you know, you even going back to like creation stories where like everyone's pretty much got a very similar story of creation. Some people have taken it to levels that it doesn't need to go as far as like down the line of like what rules we have after that. But yeah, so anyways, I was just thinking about cliches and how important songs are, and that sometimes we just need to keep saying things over and over again, and that's equally as important as a good pop song as well. Yeah. So yeah, it's more about just kind of that and sometimes we just, I feel like I like to hear important messages over and over again.
Sure.
And also part of me, subconsciously, I think I was writing about like climate change in there as well, which is just kind of weird. Like right. The more I play it, song, I was like, wait a minute, is this song actually about climate change? I don't know. But yeah, I was just a lot of Woody Guthrie stuff. It's kind of a silly song too. But sure. It's just, that was my thought process behind it.
Yeah.
sitting in my favorite room, sky flowers on the wall. I listen to that song again, and then I'm gonna count them all. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1,009, and today they look like daisies. They don't need a drop of rain. Gotta take your mind off of things people say, so it must be true. It's not strange how all that weight becomes a part of you. Share the load, share the wealth, have another drink, another toast of good health. These cliches, they might be worn out, but it could be a better world. Kids are out of school again. There's bottle rockets all around. You know a dip in that cool blue water sure looks as good as it sounds, because it's 80, 90, 110. The temperature keeps rising, I don't think it'll end, so we better start running before it starts to rain. Gotta take your mind off things people say, so it must be true. It's not so strange how all that weight becomes a part of you. Share the load, share the wealth, have another drink, another toast of good health. These cliches, they might be worn out, but it could be a better world. Oh no, it's deja vu again, I've heard this all before. It's the same old melodies and the same old set of chords. Maybe I wasn't listening, or maybe I forgot. We're just floating around in the same place, and we're shitting on the same pod. I go out on the front stoop, another smoke to pass the time. My neighbor's working on his car again, and the ride looks good for its miles. He says it's 100, 200, 300 more, and he means thousands, so he tells me what for. He says you gotta keep things running, you don't know when it'll rain. Gotta take your mind off of things people say, so it must be true. It's not so strange how all that weight becomes a part of you. Share the load, share the wealth, have another drink, another toast of good health. These cliches, they might be worn out, but it could be a better world. I'll share a dollar, share my couch, share all the love that I can let out. Sometimes I need a reminder that it could be a better world. Yes, sometimes I need a reminder that it could be a better world.
There's a great joke from Nick Thune, one of my favorite stand-up comics, and he talks about that whole kind of saying cliche or whatever of two birds with one stone.
Sure.
You know, and he's like, has there ever been like a stone shortage where, you know, it's like where we had a, you know, it was like, yeah, hey, if you could just, we're short on stones. If you could just hit two birds with one stone, then it'd be great and stuff. And he's
right.
like, you know what? Hey, that's a good idea, actually. Will you just go forward and tell everybody about that forever? You know, like, anyway, it's like, it's but you know, they're saying those cliches, those things, they stick around because there is truth to that stuff, and you know,
right. And some of them are very important, I think.
Right.
You know, some song, "This Land Is Your Land." That's I think most people have learned that song in school. You know, that's I remember like third grade, we're singing "This Land Is Your Land."
Yeah.
You know? But then it's funny that, you know, even tying into like, I think that this is going around now more too. It's like, you know, in kindergarten, like as a kid, sharing is so important, and then you become an adult and it's just not that important anymore, you know, and that's messed up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, man.
So it just reminding of those kind of like lessons that you learn as a kid that are just important to stick around, I think.
Yeah. For sure. So you are, like I said, we have brand new recordings, but you've also been writing new stuff even since this stuff. You're looking maybe we're getting back in the studio even not too long from now.
I think I got to talk to Gabe soon again. Yeah. He doesn't know it yet, but I'm gonna. I've got probably like a full length, whatever, 10 or 12 newer songs that are ready to go.
Nice. Yeah, man, that'd be cool. I mean, like I said, I think as a fan, I mean, I know, like I said, these recordings aren't even out, but we're already talking about the next thing. But it's like, as a fan, that's how I am. Like, I mean, you could put out whatever, 20 something tracks, and I'm still gonna be like, cool, when's the next one? And
right.
It's like, it's like, yeah, that was great, but like, when's the next one? So it's like, and that's, I mean, I do that with everybody. It's like, once you're a fan, you just want to as much as you can. It's like,
sure. I feel like a lot of friends who do Nick Gusman's one of these people too, where like, I'm not afraid if I write a song, I'm not afraid to play it before like I said, it's been 7 years since I put a recording out, so I'm not afraid to like play songs that aren't going to be on an album or a record for years later. It's just kind of like, when we write songs, it's just what it is. Yeah.
Well, and it's also fun to get, when they're kind of road tested too, it's like, how they go over and things, and, or when you can kind of get a little bit of feedback and be like, hey, let's, adjust this piece or whatever.
Right.
So
yeah, and know like, oh, that landed a little bit with people. That makes sense. I've questioned, we make stuff up, and then it's like, well, that makes sense to me. But I have a hard time making sense of what makes sense in my brain to other people too. Not the best talker sometimes.
Yeah, and that's. I'm glad that we got this out there, man. We got some brand new music. Like I said, it's been a long time, and I think a lot of people are excited to get some new Bobby Stevens tunes wherever they're listening to their music and stuff. But yeah, man. And also, like I said before, that vinyl, great record. If you don't have a copy of that, I highly encourage you to pick up that, because it's a whole lot of fun. That's a fun record. Plus, it's cool that just like I said, having you on vinyl, like, it's, I don't know, I think that's like, and Nick did it too, like, and I just think that's, so it's cool to see some of my favorites are supporting vinyl and
sure
stuff, so. But you were saying maybe I don't know, nothing set, but maybe putting this on a tape or something possibly?
Yeah, I think my buddy Darren had asked if to release it on cassette tape, so it's only 5 songs, so I didn't want to
but I think that's,
and I've been hitting this point too where I like left my day job last year to kind of like focus on writing, which is, I feel fortunate to have been able to make that jump. And, not that it's like I'm doing so great, but it's just like to free up a little bit of time for that kind of stuff. But then I like started thinking more about expectations and what kind of expectations I want to have for myself, and like pressure, and just doing it the way, like, I don't know, and just do this the way that I feel comfortable with doing. So I've like slowed the pace down a little bit. So it was just more like, all right, put these songs out, and like, yeah, just put them out digital. But I had a friend who, I'm sorry. So it's 5 songs. So I was like, I'm not going to make a vinyl. That's just so pricey to do that for 5 songs. And then like CDs, it's like, well, is that even,
right. The CD's 80 minutes, and so you're only, this is whatever, 20 something or whatever.
Right.
It's like,
so I'm like, just put it out online. And then my buddy Darren was just like, hey, I'm starting to put out cassettes. And I was like, that sounds pretty neat. I'd like to have something physical.
Sure.
So that's kind of neat too. But I guess it's like, just trying to remain relevant, I guess. So let's make tapes.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a fun novelty to it all.
Sure.
It's like,
it's nice to have a thing, and the artwork's neat, and it's just cool to have. And I know tapes are just neat. Tapes are fun. Right. I have a tape player at home, and I know a lot of people are doing it, and that's just a really easy way to do it too.
Sure.
Kind of.
Yep. So yeah, maybe keep an eye out for that. Maybe we'll have a tape coming this soon, and all this stuff. But I think it's we don't have an official release party on the calendar yet. But I think that's a fun way to do it. To kind of put the music out, let everybody get it, and learn all the words, and then come sing along at the party and all this stuff. So
I'm going to take a page out of Matt Bassler's book, I think.
There you go. Yeah.
He started it. He started a revolution.
But yeah, man. So keep an eye out for more Bobby Stevens coming soon. This is we were doing a lot of talking and laughing before we started talking about Conan OBrien and Howard Stern and all kinds of stuff. And we were telling stories earlier about Todd Schneider and stuff. Anyway, but these I was laughing about Conan earlier. Like he's been, obviously a huge part of my life. Just everything from even the Late Show to what today with on TBS and everything. But he's one of my favorite people, and from his comedy and interviewing and stuff, like his approach to it all. But we were laughing about some of those like Without Borders and stuff, like and just and he. That's some of my favorite stuff, man. Like when Conan, just off the cuff, just like Conan being an ass out in the middle of the woods or whatever and stuff. And like, but I think that's like the fun stuff too. Like even like how you're saying, like for yourself, like you just kind of going at your own pace. Like that's exactly what he's doing now. Like he changed his whole show where he's like, it's not the typical format of the desk and stuff. He changed it to where it's like a half an hour because that's how people are consuming shows and stuff more. So it's nobody sits it for. So it's more of a focused interview on one person for a half an hour instead of, and there's also, he's moved into doing a podcast himself and, all that stuff. So it's like, sometimes you got to change your own game just to adapt and stay relevant, like you're saying. So,
right. I love that Conan's become slightly unhinged over recent years, but like that was a good thing you said, that the format's different. And I like the value he puts on, like, it's less about content actually, and it's quicker and less about the surface, like, oh, you've got a movie coming out, and it's like, no, let's talk about some interesting stuff together, and like getting to know people, and like, I don't know. Yeah, I mean that's like lightening a little humanity and putting a little bit of light into the world too, and not just like selling something always. And I appreciate that about him recently. Yeah, which has been funny.
I mean that's like, I think that there's. It's that format, especially the late night talk show type of setting, like it's just been beat to death. It's like, so there's so many people who are just kind of burnt on all that. It's like, that's why podcasting's become fun, is because it's like there are no rules to it, and there's no commercials, or you can also talk about whatever and get a little more, get to know a little bit more about people and stuff. So.
Right, and it could be 4 hours, it could be 20 minutes, it could be so there's no
Yeah, if you're Joe Rogan.
We got to hit these points and we got to make it in and out, it's just kind of like, oh, we're riffing. That's great, If
you're Joe Rogan, you can, talk about DMT and smoke weed with...
Actually, yes. We listened to a lot of Joe Rogan. That was my first time when I was touring with Andrew Ryan. That's interesting.
Yeah?
Yeah. The one I liked a lot was the episode with Diamond Dallas Page.
He's
really turned me on to yoga.
Yeah.
I've been stretching a lot because of DDP.
There you go. There's a really fascinating video where he like helped this guy. I don't know if did you see?
They were talking about that on there.
He helped this one guy. He was like, severely obese and was struggling. And
he was like a Vietnam vet or a vet. I think he was definitely a veteran, but I'm not sure maybe if he was like in a war or something.
Yeah, but anyway, got this guy, like, he started his own journey, and then DDP, like, heard about him and wanted to help him and pushed him to even go farther, and, like, he lost, like, I don't know, something like 100 pounds in, like, a couple months or whatever, something like that. He made a huge change in his life and kept going and stuff. It was like, but... I don't know. It was really, just this little video I watched, like kind of cut together and stuff. It was really motivating. For sure. Like, it's cool to see a guy like that, like that he's, trying to make a difference in himself, but he's also in the world. He's like helping all these people out, trying to, and teaching them about yoga and all this different stuff. The power of all that.
Sure. Yeah. That like I said, that was I think that was my favorite one we listened to. I was just like, whoa, that's so cool. Because I knew the Jake the Snake Roberts story with, like, Diamond Dallas Page and, like, work with that with, like, I don't know. It's crazy to see the power of these things that, like, maybe it's become in vogue, but it's like, these things have been around forever. And it's like, that's powerful stuff. And it works, And, however you want to invest. But, the Diamond Dallas Page one was it's amazing that he's just going out there, and like it was just neat seeing him or like hearing him. He's like, I started pro wrestling like at 40 years old, which is like that's old to be like in a high intense sport, and he like messed up his back, and then he's like, my wife's like, try yoga, and him just being like, I don't want to do yoga, and then getting into it and being like, whoa, whoa, this is legit, this is great, but it was inspiring to me too. And like I came home from that trip actually and was just like, I think I need to start doing this. My back's getting achy. I feel tight, and like noticing some changes.
Definitely,
which
man.
is neat. Yeah.
That and that's also one of my favorite things too about just any interviews or whatever it is. But like everybody's got like an idea, like I know Diamond Dallas Page from wrestling and stuff, but like then you totally learn a whole different side of what he's doing, and and that's like one of the coolest things. Like just it totally changes your perspective and your like sort of even going back to your story about Danny's grandpa and stuff. You know, like he had that one view of you, your tattoos and stuff, but there's a lot more to Bobby than his tattoos.
Right.
And, so
there's not even that many of them.
Right. Yeah. But that's people they see one thing and they think they got you figured out, but then when they learn there's a lot more to it.
Right. I think we're at an interesting time period with all that stuff too. Like talking about podcasts, there's a lot of it's great. There's like a lot of viewpoints going around, and that's I don't know. That's ups and downs to that for sure. Obviously,
sure.
There's a lot of like people who are just like, what, That's the one thing about Joe Rogan. Sometimes it's like, sometimes he defends people, and I'm like,
he's definitely. I mean, he puts his own opinions out there.
Sure,
and that's his thing. But like, I think too much. Some of it's just assumed to be fact because Joe said it or something.
Right,
like that.
right.
Like, and but
that's what people get when you get into things, though.
Yeah,
it's neat, no?
Right.
But it is cool to be able to appreciate like a lot of people saying a lot of things that you never heard before.
Yeah,
that's great.
Well, I mean, like, and I get to talk to like some cool people, but like the fact that he got to hang out with like Elon Musk and smoke weed with him and stuff.
That was an interesting one too.
Stuff like that. I mean, like it's pretty wild. Like some of the stuff he gets, some situations he gets himself into. And
sure. How do you feel about Elon Musk?
I don't know a ton about him. I think he's an interesting character for sure.
Sure.
I mean, like I think he, it's unreal with like some of the stuff he's been able to create already. And,
right. I think his name and the way he looks, I'm just totally like James Bond villain.
Oh yeah, right.
That sounds like a villain from a James Bond movie, Elon Musk, and the way he looks. I was just like, or he's Iron Man. I don't know which one is it.
Right. Yeah, I don't know, man. But
that guy's got a lot of ideas. So
sure, I could use some of that money though. That's
whoa, wouldn't that be interesting?
Just let me.
I don't know. I guess I'll just go smoke some weed today and go on my estate and think about stuff and try to
and invent some more cool shit. So
I feel like eventually he's gonna. I don't know. It's hard to say who the James Bond villain is, if it's him or Jeff Bezos. I don't know. Hot take. Sorry, everyone.
There we go. I did hear a funny thing the other day about, I guess there was like some kind of Jeff Bezos dick pic leaked out there on the internet or something along those lines. I didn't go researching it.
Sure.
But somebody...
Which is funny because he probably makes money off the clicks.
Oh, yeah, sure.
To try to find his picture of his wiener.
But somebody made a joke about, like, that'd be a great punk band name, Jeff Bezos' Penis or something like that. Like,
it would be.
So I was like,
are there memes about that with like a penis and
I'm sure,
like that
I'm sure
Jeff Bezos' face on it?
I'm sure there is,
Now we're getting to the good stuff.
There you go, man. It took us a little bit, but we're there.
Sure.
But I think about, there's a lot of those just funny, people put out funny band names. I'm like, I'm just like, man, some of these need to happen because like there's like just so many things like that, like obviously pop culture stuff, like you could make new band names all the time and make funny stuff like that.
That was one of my favorite things that came into the world like sometimes you do stuff with your friends and you don't realize that other people are doing it with their friends too, and which is awesome. It's like this weird collective, like unconscious thing, and like then you go to somewhere else and you say good band name, but they're all like, yeah, like on board. So the good band name was one of my favorite things that like popped up for a long time, which is kind of like somebody says something weird or funny and you're like, that's a good band name.
Sure. Yeah. It was one of my favorite podcasts I listen to a lot is About Last Night with Brad Williams and Adam Ray. And they do a lot of that. Like somebody will say something random, whatever it is, and they're like, "Yeah, I think they're playing Coachella this year or something." Like that. It's a running joke on their show.
Like, right, and then it's even funnier. Andrew Ryan, actually, we came up with one last summer. Kind of an embarrassing story on my part, but I'm not ashamed of it. My good friend Zach Kelly lives in Chicago, and we played the show, and we were just all goofing off, and Zach was cooking us food, and it was the first time Andrew Ryan had ever had pierogies, which was, I don't know, do you know what pierogies are?
I do not know.
Man, pierogies are the shit. It's like a Polish dish, Eastern European kind of thing, but it's basically a noodle, like a stuffed noodle, and it's usually with like mashed potato type stuff in there.
Okay.
So there's all different kinds of varieties, but they're so good. But anyways, he had that, but we were playing a show and we were just all goofing off, and then somebody mentioned something. Long story short, somebody said something about smelling farts, and I was just like, I'll smell your fart. And then Zach farted into a mason jar and put a lid on it. And then I smelled it. It's like, does this smell like pierogi? So I smelled my friend's fart out of a jar.
That is.
But then we came up with a good band name, Fart Jar. And then for like a whole nother week, we like came up with a whole like Fart Jar song titles and a record label that they were on, and like an album title and everything like that. So
that's great.
Sorry to. I did. Okay, I'm not ashamed of it. I smelled my friend's fart from a jar. Okay.
That that is an interesting thing too. How we like always like. Oh my God, this is terrible. Smell it. You know, it's like,
sure.
It's like,
oh
no, how about, no, I'm okay.
Like, I made a poem about that once, and I'm a fan. I will. Like, if you're like, ugh, smell this, I'm going to smell it and be like, let me share that with you. That sucks. I'm very curious.
Right. Even if it's a fart in a jar.
Even if it's fart. That's the one and only time I've done that. I'll never do that again.
Right.
But it was also like a proud moment of being like, in my mid-30s, and I'm gonna smell a fart from a jar. Why the heck not? That's something you would do when you're like 8 years old. You'd prank a friend. But Zach Kelly's fart smelled like pickles. I will say that. Nice. It was super weird. I was like, why is it? It's very dilly.
Somebody was talking. I saw something like a meme or whatever. It was like an Amazon review snapshot thing of it. But those, like, remember those, like, they had, like, the balloon type of thing inside, and, like, you could pull it back, and you could, like, shoot a ball of air. You remember those at all?
No.
Like, it was, like, a big cone, and, like, it had, like, a balloon type of thing on the inside, and, like, so you'd pull it back, like, on a rubber band, and you could, like, let it go, and it would shoot, like, a, kind of like a puff of air out. So it's, like, basically, like, you could throw air, and then so somebody on the Amazon review was like, if you fart into it, and you could shoot a fart across the room and stuff to your friend. And so it made me laugh. Like I'm 34 years old, and
I still think that's funny too. I'm into that.
Still pooping fart jokes.
It's great to think about the funny things, but I think the true fountain of youth is just being into farts.
Right. Yeah, I don't ever want to get to a point where that's not funny anymore. So
yeah, or like be so uptight. Right. Don't get me wrong. I'm not just going around being like, "Hey, guess what?" Yeah, I'm not that person. But
what's that? Terrence and Phillips.
Yeah, not Terrence and Phillips. But you know, if it was an intimate moment between me and a good friend, I appreciated sharing that.
Yep.
And we had a good band name out of it. I think Fart Jar is a great band name.
Yeah,
I think that should be a real band.
Let's do it. I want to hear what Fart Jar's got to say.
It could be like a poppy band, or it could be like a real heavy band. I think either way it would work.
Right.
Yeah. I picture it kind of sounding like Super Trunk or something like that, kind of.
There you go. That would be a good tour together too. Super Chunk and Fart Jar.
Sure, let's make it happen.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go see them here at Off Broadway in a few weeks. I'll make sure I'd like. What's up? I'm in this band Fart Jar. I think we should tour together. I'm still working on the songs, but they'll be done. I think. I think I can get them done.
Some really good stuff. Well, man, this is it's been incredible, Bobby. I'm having a lot of fun hanging with you. It's been a great afternoon. We again check out the EP coming soon, titled "Working on Something." Due out on May 24th, digitally everywhere. And June 13th, you can come see Bobby and his band live at Schlafly Tap Room for free with Desire Lines and Cold Bridges and the Overpass, which is going to be a great night. And, of course, you can find everything else. Facebook and Instagram. You can head over to Bobby Stevens on Bandcamp and keep an eye out for shirts and rep vinyl and download the new EP there also. I think that's everything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Thanks, Shane. It was great hanging out.
Thank you, Bobby.
I'm glad we got to share fart talk with each other.
Man. Hey,
I'm stuck on that. It's going to be forever.
Right. Well, now it is forever because it's on this podcast and it's going to be on the internet.
I'm in.
Yeah, man. So if you got some good working titles for Fart Jar, go ahead and send those in for us.
Send me a direct message on Instagram, Mr. Bobby Stevens. I'd like to hear more song titles.
Yeah,
that's like an interactive thing. That's pretty fun.
maybe it would be good too to like when we do get the record ready, we can do one of those like infomercials and stuff like with such great songs as
Sure. Why does it smell like pickles?
Or
I don't know.
I always felt like that song. Leonard Skinner's That Smell.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you don't even have to change that one. Like, it's like they pretty much wrote that one.
And I think that's like a heavy song about like somebody being addicted to heroin or something.
I think it's the smell of death. And stuff.
Yeah.
But, we went on a road trip with 4 guys in like a Pontiac Thunderbird. Or not Pontiac Thunderbird.
The Firebird?
Yeah. No, Ford Thunderbird, whatever.
Okay.
So, got my birds mixed up. And we went to Florida, and of course that car smelled really funny. So like that became like the theme song of our trip was like, ooh, that smell.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, it was some good times, man. But yeah, write in those. Send Bobby your fart jar suggestions.
Yeah, I'd like to. I need something to do.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
Yeah. We're gonna work on some new songs.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Thank you, buddy. And
thanks for hanging out. Thanks for having me on your podcast.
Absolutely, man. Happy to help. Like I said, I'm a big fan. I'm glad, and I'm glad to get to hang out with my buddies. So this has been a fun day, getting to talk tunes and everything else. So, but yeah, man. I'll see you soon, my friend.
See ya.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Rock Paper Podcast. Rock Paper Podcast. Rock Paper Podcast.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Well, yeah, that was it.